we had hoped to have this morning. Her name is Dara Richardson, and she is the national CEO of the YWCA, which an organization with which you have been involved, seriously involved, for a long, long time. She's here in town today for a luncheon tomorrow. Tell us about this.
This is really exciting for me, Robert. I'm on the board of directors of the YWCA, so I preface it by that. And this is her first visit ever to Shreveport. This is, I believe, the first visit ever for the national CEO in many, many, many years. And if you know a little bit of the history of the YWCA, closed the downtown shelter, closed operations several years ago. And there's been a lot of us, a group of women working behind the scenes to bring the agency back.
Well, one question, why did it close X number of years ago?
There were lots of financial problems. I don't want to point fingers. I don't want to say anything like that. I'm just going to say there were lots of financial problems. There was it was funding issues. The building was old. It needed a lot of repairs. There were so many things that came into play.
But in the interim, you and a number of other women in the area seeing the need, the importance of a domestic abuse shelter. Go ahead, what?
We don't do domestic abuse. We have Project Celebration does domestic violence and has the shelter here in town. But we're doing some really neat programming. The ultimate goal is to have a women's resource center. That's our ultimate goal, which will do all kinds of things for women. But we do teen workshops for leadership building. We do financial seminars, legal seminars, a whole bunch of programs for women. We do counseling for elderly victims, female victims. Tomorrow we're having our, and I hate to say this because it's an invitation-only deal. It's not like you can walk up and show up. You have to be at a sponsor's table, etc. It's the Women Who Care Share Banquet. It's our second annual, and I'm regretful because last year was our first banquet, and as you know, tomorrow's the anniversary of my mother's death, so I didn't get to make it to the first banquet. Can you imagine?
Can you believe? We talked about it just a bit, not to get way off track. It's been a year already.
I know. I don't want to go there because I'll cry. But so I missed the first banquet. So this is the first one I get to attend. And I have a table, and I have some of my friends. The mayor will be at my table. Bonnie Moore, community development. You're invited. There are going to be a handful of men scattered about the crowd. And if you can make it, you're welcome. I have a spot at my table I'll hold for you. But it's just, it's going to be so... it's always invigorating and enlightening, and it's just a great group of women, and I'm really looking forward to it. And to have Dara in town is just so exciting. And one of the missions of the YWCA is to eliminate racism and empower women. And I want to hear more about that message. I think it's really important. And when people talk about these issues, there's a whole difference between dialogue, when we talk about, I go to the Dialogue on Race series, and debate.
Yes.
There's a way to discuss this with people that have a different opinion from you, and then there's a way to debate. And there is nothing wrong with a dialogue, and it's really beneficial to listen to folks who have a different opinion and keep your mind open, and don't be closed-minded, and be open to listen to other people who have lived a different life. I have lived a privileged life, no doubt about it. I'm one of the lucky ones in the world, and I don't know the story of others, but I'm willing to listen. And that's what our aim is. That's our whole goal and mission, and I'm so excited.
What is the status of the local YWCA right now?
Oh, that's exciting. I'm so glad you asked. We have a
Thanks for holding up the card.
We have a new facility. We're in the 850 Olive Street. We have a building there that we're currently leasing with the hope, knock on wood, hope to purchase it. We're working on that now. We're always looking for grant funding and for private donations and folks who want to help and believe in the mission. And I'm to walk into that building when we moved, my boys helped stack boxes and boxes and moved out of that downtown facility. It was dreadful. It was, I cried.
I recall at the time you were heartbroken.
Oh, I cried. We cried. We had files. It was just so depressing to.
Well, you had worked with them for more than a decade at that point.
I worked for them for a long time, and I actually was an employee, part-time employee during my earlier radio career. And I just so believe in those of us who have lived a great life and who have been privileged to help those who need help, who need a hand. And, for my little piece of my life and my time on earth, this is what I believe in my heart of hearts, is that I want to help women who need a hand up at a time. And the best story I can relate to you is to see somebody or have somebody come up to me in the grocery store, at the hair salon, or wherever, and they'll quietly come over and say, "You helped me when I got forced out of my house and my husband or my boyfriend was abusive, and I want to know how I can help other people now." It gets me emotional to think one little action that I may have done 15, 20, 30 years ago, it means so much to some woman who's now in a position in her life where she can reach out and help. Helping others, it does nothing for you except everything. The heart, the brain, the good feeling, and I don't do it for recognition. And I didn't know you were going to do this segment. I appreciate you doing it, but why can't we help others?